gang, we are back on home soil for a full day of coffee and photography. Because on days like today, where there is sunshine, I've made it a priority of mine to get out and to take photos. Because this summer has sucked. It has been so cloudy and so miserable. It feels weird to be back shooting in London, because I've been very lucky that as a professional photographer, I've got to go places to take photos. And so I've been to Geneva, Portugal, New York, Farnborough, Munich. It's been mental. It's honestly been one of the busiest periods of my professional career, which is obviously amazing. But to get back on home soil, to get shooting, I am so excited. I love just all of these lines intersecting. So you've got layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 5, all going in this direction. Then we've got all of these intersections. It's funny that I've been so focused on client work, I've now got to shift my mindset, start thinking street photography. Obviously when I'm thinking in client world, I'm like, there's an objective, there's things to communicate, there are things we want to specifically capture and we want to frame it in a certain way. Whereas in street photography, it's much more about reading a scene for how it is and then being able to call upon different techniques that we have kind of like stored in our head and be able to quickly apply them and action them and trial them to see if it can, I guess, emphasize the story and the thing that we have noticed. Start thinking more like Joel Meyerowitz. Just see the world for how it is. Used this composition before, but we've got these girder wire things causing shadows on this pillar here. So we've got loads of leading lines, including the railings here. They're all kind of leading towards this point here. So as I'm waiting for my subject here, hence why I'm in this weird little position, what is a good subject? Often it's to do with the gestures or the movement or the shapes or something that someone is doing that's a bit more out of the ordinary. Because yeah, whilst you've got people walking, is that interesting? I would argue in most cases someone walking is not interesting. And so it's then like, right, let's look around for people who are interesting. A kid running around playing, that's more interesting. Like that is different, that is interesting, that is why that subject is chosen. This is what I'm looking at, but I can see over here who is coming up, then also who is coming along. And so that allows me to start thinking like, okay, oh, there's a kid running with a football, maybe he's gonna kick it, maybe he's gonna like play with the ball, and I can frame that in a nice way. Those are the thoughts I'm trying to have before I'm actually taking the photo. Sometimes you've just got to admit that there are no interesting subjects going around, and that is absolutely fine. That is part of the process and the journey of street photography, because now I've got this composition saved in my head, and so I know that when it's this sort of lighting conditions, I get a nice frame that I'd quite like to capture someone. And you never know, on different days maybe there will be something really interesting happening. And so don't get disheartened when you find a scene but you don't quite get the subject. Just bank it. It will come back to you. We will get the image that we are looking for in due course.
If you have enjoyed the photos in this video and want to learn how you can shoot images just like these, you should consider Street Tools. Street Tools is without a doubt one of the most powerful resources for photographers at all skill levels. From the essential basics to the advanced professional techniques, this book provides everything needed to take your photography to the next level. And it's mad because I have travelled the world using the very techniques written down in this book, and top brands have trusted me to capture their vision, and all of that is in here. It's everything that I wish I knew earlier in my career. And so if you're interested, there's a link down in the description for both the hard copy and the ebook.
So I've also given myself the goal of trying to be super friendly and to try and talk to as many different people as possible, because it's so important, I think, for us to try and make the experience of taking photos as positive as possible for ourselves and then also for our subjects, because everyone knows that people can get quite aggy. But if we are generally giving off a positive, happy aura, I think that mitigates 99% of any sort of negative interactions. And so the goal is to practice being sound, being happy, being friendly, and let's just see what happens. Maybe some magic's gonna happen, maybe we're gonna come across a beautiful scene. It's all about putting our best foot forwards and getting after it. Sounds weird, but this walkway is usually really clear. It's interesting kind of documenting London as it's changing, because in, I don't know, 10 years time, people are just going to assume that how it is then is how it's always been. And so documenting that is just interesting and curious.